Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to DocuSweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, but through our own lens, honey, which is, very, very acidic, very bitter. Just overly salty, overly seasoned, sometimes just like hot, spicy. Ow, who the hell would ever be able to touch it? But at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet.
Hi.
Was like, that's not me. Um,
Just
but
so
I'll tell you,
salty.
I know. I'll tell you what is us matching in our kimonos. You're welcome.
Yeah, you are for those of you, especially those of you on Patreon. I mean, you get to see these vibrant kimonos.
Wa did this.
Uh,
So credit for
yeah,
credit's due. Wa did this.
and there are two other people from my YouTube channel, Tiana and I believe Jesse, who have this as well. They won the contest, so I gave them all kimonos.
Oh, that'd be cute. So
Mhm.
yeah, we're gonna think of some fun things to do for our Patreons. As you guys know, we've been doing
Patrons.
whatever you call them, honey. I don't care. I don't care about words. I only care about feelings. More than words. But I will tell you this: it's been a year. Can you believe it? It's been a year for your girls, and we have enjoyed the ride, even though it's been very bumpy. Oh, it's been a roller coaster. No, the twists and turns and the lows, honey, the lowest of the lows with her. But
Wow.
we somehow made it through. But no, having said that, we're super excited. Monday is our first Monday of the month live. We're also celebrating a year, so we have some fun things in store for you. So I don't know if we got to say it, so I'm so sorry. We're right now going to be talking about 90 Day Fiancé. We're towing it. It's season 5, episode 4. Mad about what you said. This is what this episode is. Now, having said that, on Monday, we will be recording what happened Sunday night because we're on it and there's a lot of things happening. So Sunday night, as you know, in the 90-day world, what's happening before the 90 days, right? So premieres later on. We're gonna enjoy watching it on our own time. So are you. And then we are gonna do our lives Monday, and then lives, and then come and do our live together at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is where WA is. And we are going to old style, YouTube style, present a live recording of our podcast that you, our patrons only, can watch in real time. So, of course, if you are just listening to the live feed, we cannot express how grateful we are just you're listening. And this will always be free. You can listen to your heart's content. But we exist in cute kimonos. And we will be doing, again, a live premiere of recording so you can watch us. And then right after that, since we can't, give all the honeys, all of the tea, and all the comments we want to, like back in the YouTube days, we will then jump into a separate patron-only live where we will just dig in. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. We're pretty into our little girly sleepover style situations, and we'll have some fun surprises and treats. Wow, I over talked that whole situation because I was so excited, and I'm so sorry. But please, 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 let me not talk over you. You talk.
No, I have nothing to say about that. Good job. Thank you so much for giving it to the folks. So basically, that whole entire speech was for patrons only. That's really what you should know. That's what you should walk out of that and understand that all the links will be available to patrons from patreon.com/docusweeties to support us $10 a month. All right, so let's mad about what you said. Is this supposed to be mad about you and also mad about what you said? Is that a quote from Riley or from where did this come from, Chris?
I thought it the same thing. It's so funny because it sounds like mad about what you said sounds like someone who is English as a second language saying it. But it also, to me, I thought was Holly talking about Wayne calling her a prostitute.
Oh, yes.
But she kept
Yes.
saying this. It's a little much. It's a little much. It's a prostitute's a little much. It's a little much. It was a little much. Have you heard me when I said it was a little much? So I kind of wish it was called Little Much, But,
Yeah, or a little mix. Haha. So
oh,
the one thing that I think let's just talk about them.
okay.
Let's
Well, yeah,
talk
that's
about
fine. That makes sense.
so let's talk about Holly.
Brandon, and Mary. Oh, sorry. Let's talk about Holly and Wayne.
Wait a minute, what just happened?
I looked down and saw Brandon and Mary, and then said it, and then looked up and realized that we had moved on, or we had. I'm sorry. And also, I didn't get to rhyme it. It would have been Wayne and Holly. So I wish you could just literally cut the whole thing out and pick up at Wayne and Holly,
Yeah, I'll do that.
or Jean Marie. We'll see.
Because I fully was like,
I know.
okay, great.
Am I upset? Yes. You know what? Do I deserve it? Yes.
No. Okay, so we're talking about Hotel Transylvania and a wicked queen from this unseelie court. So that's Holly and Wayne. Chris is like, what is this stupid fantasy nerdy fairy talk? So we find out in this episode that he does not like the fact that she dresses the way that she dresses, because he feels like in South Africa, people will think of her, maybe as a lady of the night, which is so interesting because I don't think that that's true, but maybe it is. Like, maybe where he lives, there are ladies perusing the street with like, a spaghetti strapped mini dress that has the constellations on it.
Here's the thing. Could he be correct that some people might think that she's a prostitute with what she's wearing? Absolutely. Is he incorrect in thinking that? Here's the thing. She has to think it's a problem. I don't know what to tell you. I get that he wants to protect her, but I almost was like, well, can you first, no offense, like bring her to like public space and just see how she feels? Like, wouldn't you just want to first see if she feels comfortable? If she feels comfortable, then that's an argument to let her do whatever the fuck she wants until she doesn't feel comfortable. But for any reason, if she's just, maybe she's like, listen, she doesn't understand the culture differences and she wouldn't understand that like people are going to stare at her. Maybe that would feel really invasive or threatening. I mean, if that's what you're saying and you think it's going to happen, then just bring her and see if that is what it is.
They've been together before in South Africa. So I don't know if
it's good.
if this has happened, or he just feels some kind of way because they're Jehovah's Witness, and the truth is she's supposed to dress somewhat modestly, and she's not. But she was really hurt. I mean, really hurt when he said that people would think that she's a prostitute. Really hurt. And so they go to this store, and in her mind, she's picking up all these dresses that are better, and they're just sparkly versions of the same dress. And then, yeah.
Unbelievable. Every dress I have pictures. Every dress is horrible.
Every single one. And I mean, the shopkeeper is just like ready. She's so happy. But like, doesn't she? What is that? That's like, it's like what I would have tried to wear to an event, like maybe 2006, like that bell button hook, or like, I don't know where it's called, where it's the center where it's empty of fabric. Yeah, that is so oddly aughts,
Yeah, like she has bigger breast disease, and she, she's not okay, here's the thing. I think that Wayne just straight up does not like the way she dresses. And I agree. It's not for me. I wouldn't dress that way. Now, here's the thing. At the end of the day, you have to let someone express themselves and be who they want to be, unless they come to you for your advice, and then you just give it, and you can't even make them take it and or continually correct them, because you don't think you can continually correct someone? Oh, sorry.
Not in their relationship. I mean, they're in their religion. He is the head of the household.
Okay.
So like if so I see what you're saying, but you're talking about them as though they're secular.
Yes,
folks,
you're right.
And they are not secular folks. Like, even though they may not have been the most Jehovah's JWs of the JWs, you know what I'm saying? But the fact that they're on this TV screen talking about how they're Jehovah's Witness, and that means that you don't have sex before marriage, even though she's been married 3 times, like, these are not the best examples of Jehovah's Witnesses. But
hey, babe, do they ever pray? Like, where's the religious part of this? I mean, because I don't know. Like, where's the religious part of this religion? How come there's no like masses or ceremonies, or like where's them?
You mean, how come they're not going door to door, or how come they're not holding
anything that is remotely tells me that this person is in a religion, besides like just saying it once in a while and be like, we don't vote? But like, yeah, where's even like trinkets, like where's I
Well,
don't know.
well, let me tell you, the Jehovah's Witnesses they don't carry a rosary. They don't have any like
Okay.
physical whatever. They have the Watchtower and they have the Bible. Other than that, it's just like really bland.
The
Uh, con-
Watchtower, huh?
oh
I
yeah,
don't
the Watchtower is their periodical. It is their monthly periodical.
know. Oh, like
And that
Christian
is
Science Monitor.
yeah, and that's what they give to people once they go to their homes, and then they ask to come in. If you let them in, they will like do a little, churchy stuff for you to try to tell you how great it is to be Jehovah's Witness. I did it. I knocked on doors. You know.
I mean, I did it for a politician, but anyway, yeah. So, did you notice that? By the way, at one point they had like transition music for Holly and Wayne that sounded like this, like very, like this, like choir of like soft-spoken white women, like Sarah McLachlan singing like about Africa. No, I wish you
No,
had.
but I mean, it's that's on brand.
I just can't. I don't listen. I don't want to be mean, and I feel like I've been mean to Holly or about Holly, and it's because I really have to more lean into like, not for me, great for her, And I really like I want that in my whole life, but for the not for me aspect of her is like so loud, where I'm like every choice and every outfit, and the fact that she is like not this one and her mom too, like they're all the clingiest, shortest, like cheapest dresses. They make no sense. Like I don't know. It's so interesting to me when women don't know how to dress, let's just say sexy or bodycon or like as well as not be showing a lot. Like I'm not saying that you shouldn't show a lot, but I'm saying if push comes to shove and you are in the one situation where you have to at least understand cognitively what that means and then showcase a version of that, it's baffling to me that people would be like this. Now I mean, everyone dresses horribly. Style is, up and down horrible on the show, like every Gino hat and shoe. So again, but yeah, like, the fact that Holly picks the shortest, clingiest dresses when she's there to not have that is crazy. And when he looks at these spaghetti strap maxi dress and he's like, yeah, that one's okay. And then the way that she breaks down about the prostitute saying the same thing over and over again. I mean, there's something regressive about her that also makes me feel like what happened to her at 17 that her mom knows and feels guilty or bad about that like has enabled the like gray garden style relationship they have now, Oh, is that crazy?
Not Little and Big Edie. I don't know what is going on, but the fact that he said that I mean, listen, not one time, my dad has called me a floozy before, and I just look at him like, what do you even know? One, two, floozy. What an interesting word.
Were you wearing something?
Yeah, I was wearing I had some shorts that were, I feel like I bought them on Melrose, but they were shorts that were not bedazzled, but they were made out of sequin and something else, and it was like beautiful. And I came downstairs.
I remember them. You bought them with me, of course.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. So I came downstairs with them on with like a bodysuit, like a strappy bodysuit, and I was asking Sawai something, and he was like, and I was like, "What's your problem?" And he's like, "You look like a floozy." I was like, okay. And then my brother stood there and he just started laughing because he was like, Dad, what are you talking about? Like, oh, standards are different because it's me. But anyways, so other than that though, I can't imagine any man on the street telling me that I look like a prostitute. You know what? No, sorry. If somebody that I actually loved said that the way that I dress, people wouldn't mistake me for a prostitute, I would be fucking pissed. And so I get where she's coming from. However, I think that he doesn't. I think that the prostitutes in where he's looking for, the prostitutes that he's seen are pretty low caliber, because to look at her and think that she's a prostitute is like, is she a prostitute on the border between like TJ and California? Like she doesnn't look like a prostitute that I've seen. She just looks like a basic ass Betty, and you wouldn't know she was a prostitute if she was.
I mean, yeah, I get that. I think that he keeps saying like in America it's different. America is different. She loves like a really blousy, elastic back. Okay, here's the thing. Why don't we go to commercial and you guys think about it?
Yeah. Okay, so we're back from being salty. Now we're back on a sweet trend. So therefore we should move on.
To someone that we can talk sweet about, I guess. So you're welcome to find who that person is because you set that up. And you
Yes.
better not go to Kimberly and TJ, obviously. Sorry.
Let's jump to this. Brandon and Mary. Brandon and Mary.
I swear to God that you're gonna go to Kenny and Armando, but then here she is. She goes right to someone that okay. Okay, I love this beginning part where that Brandon has the audacity to say that Mary's grandfather has a resting bee face,
which is racist. I'm just gonna say it. That man does not have a resting bitch face. You are semi scared of him because what? He's a dark man who just kind of sits there. Like that man's face was not resting bee at all. Like he doesn't have a stone cold killer face, as he said. I was like, that Lolo? No, it's not. Did you get that? Did you feel
not at all? Men of a certain age, their faces don't move, and like it's not the Botox, it's just the lack of a boomer emotion. Or like listen, yeah, like my dad looks like he's in a Soprano. Like if you don't know, if my dad doesn't like you, like it is not a look of someone who's like gonna give you warmth. Like, and I think that
I don't know what that looks like because every time he looks at me, it's
he loves
with
you
a
so
smile.
much.
Yeah.
I know you wouldn't get that, but I mean, it's like, yeah, no, Brandon, this is an older gentleman who doesn't have to smile ever, like this isn't some like young buck who, like has to show weird warmth to you in some fake way that you're not Chris Farah, like, and that's me. Cause I'm overly like, would be like, hi, I'm so over the top when it comes to me trying to show warmth. But yeah, I want to take lessons from Mary's grandfather. And anyway, I really want to be able to give nothing and then also have people expect nothing.
Wow. Mm-hmm. You want to give nothing and have people expect nothing.
Also, one more thing. Why doesn't Brandon understand what the term wet dream means? He says something like, I just finally get to be with Mary, like, and wake up and it'll be like a wet dream. And it's like, no. Yeah. Because a woman will be there.
Yeah. Or maybe he's saying it'll be like his wet dreams that he's been having where he just imagines one, except for she'll actually be there. I don't know, but Chris, she tells us that she's never even kissed her ex-boyfriend. And then she's like, okay, Patreon only, 1726. I'm just like, your ex cheated on you and you never kissed him. Well, that's why you got cheated on.
I was wondering why it was like, because Juan wants to say the controversial thing. You said that because you're thinking, yeah, like, well, she didn't give it up, so what would you expect? Is that what you're saying? Well, she didn't give up them lips, honey. She didn't give up like any more kisses. No.
She didn't give him any kisses.
Can I ask a question?
What?
Was all that was standing in the way of that is that fact that boyfriend didn't ask Mary's grandfather for the kisses?
I have no idea, but Mary is like, I'm scarred because my ex cheated on me, and I'm scared to be with Brandon because this is going to be the first time I've ever kissed anybody. And when she said that, I was like, were you in a relationship? Because like, here's the truth. Like, I know that folks are real. You could be like the Duggars, right? And that you date somebody for 2 months, as long as the family likes it, you get married, and you don't kiss before then. Which makes sense. But I'm like, how long were you with the ex? How long were you expecting him to hold out? Or like, you guys, like, he's obviously cheating on you because those other girls are giving him the kisses.
I don't understand how you like kissed him so fast at the airport and then you kiss your real life boyfriend. Like when you were hanging out with him all the time, like, you kissed Brandon like the second you saw him in real life, and in the entire time you were with someone, you little like, she's horny. Because this is one more other thing about Mary. Mary is horny because Mary has been, I'm so horny. I'm horny too. Mary has been cyber sexing or whatever they call it now. I don't know. With Brandon the entire time.
Yes, they've been having phone sex.
Okay. That seemed even more like old school, like, because at least cyber sex to me like happened after party lines. Phone sex still feels like, hi, do you want to call fun girls that are just turning 18? Call 1-800 just turned 18. Like, remember those lines? You never see them anymore. You never see commercials for them anymore. And like the commercials were like literally 45-year-olds being like, just turned 18. And you'd be like, what? By the way, I used to call them all the time. But I would never be able to make it to paying money for it. So I would just be like, how far can I go? And which is basically only the recorded line that'd be like, thanks for calling 1-800 just turned 18. Now call 1-888 something. You'd be like, oh no, the 1-888 number just immediately starts charging your line. Can you imagine if my dad had gotten like $700 worth? Anyway, that's a different story. But let me tell you about this. I liked Brandan's cute brown leather luggage. So that's a moment of sweetness I'll give.
No, it's really sweet. We've been sweet this whole time.
Oh.
So yeah, she and him, like she has this moment where she tells him really quick in the car that they're not supposed to kiss, and then he feels awkward when the granddad asks about the what happened, and she's like, oh, don't say it, and he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna say it. So then they get into the room because he's really, I mean, listen, how tired is he when he saw all of those egg rolls? Did you see all of those egg rolls?
Yeah. First of all, I was like, did they cater this? It just seems a perfect amount and so many egg rolls. But she made one thing. I was like, the egg rolls too. Like it looked I wanted to eat every morsel of it.
Every morsel. He's like, oh, I'm tired, and I'm like, this food is not going to keep. Okay, this food is not going to taste the same if it's microwaved later. Do they have an air fryer? Is there even a microwave? You better eat this shit right now.
So yeah, he asked permission and then he's like weird about it, like, and by the way, I just will say this. Those grandparents have been on God's green earth for a hot ass second. They've been having kids that have been having kids that have been having kids. You know what I'm saying? So the minute that this man comes in and he realizes that he has to ask, and the way that he asks and his reaction, and like, it is obvious that he's going to fuck the shit out of Mary underneath that roof, and they know it.
I think they do too.
Yeah.
And also, like, he mentions the fact that he's wondering when the grandparents are going to get their own digs, because this is him and Mary's house, because he paid for it. And the only reason they're living there is because of a typhoon. So like all of a sudden now he has to ask for their permission. What he doesn't know is Mary is never going to kick her family out. They will be there for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Does he think they're going to go on Redfin and just see like now they got their bearings, go on Redfin and get a new place? That's what he thinks.
Download Zillow and figure it out. So he's there. There's a lot of bugs, places. And he's like, we got to get an exterminator. And I was like, do you know where you are? There's no exterminators. You're living with these bugs. And when she's like, there's cockroaches, I was like, oh no. There, to me, like, you could have geckos yelling in your ceiling. No, you can't. Get that gecko out of there. But you can have geckos. There can be flies because those, whatever. And listen, spiders aren't the worst. They're worse for some people, but me, I'm like, okay, if there's a lot of open windows, it happens. But cockroaches can never be a part of my life.
Yeah, like, I, first of all, completely agree with you. And then also, B, did you know that geckos make that kind of sound? Because I did not know. And then, I'm sorry, no animals need to be around me that scream.
Yeah. Yeah.
No babies or animals that just scream fucking bloody murder.
That was rude of that animal, and I would have had to get rid of it. But then he's like, okay, well, so we won't be having sex. We won't be knocking boots. And I was like, how do you know that? That is a very specific. Go ahead.
Boy, I love you so. Never, ever, ever gonna let you go. Once I get my hands on you.
They say knock boots in that song?
Keep on knocking the boots. Ooh, boy, I love you. I literally think it's called Knocking Boots.
The song that I'm thinking is Steady Rockin' Knocking the Boots. Yeah, that song.
I've never heard of that song.
Oh.
It's not Steady Rock.
No, I think it's called Knocking Boots. It's either by Jodeci or it's by one of those like R&B.
Okay, there's Knockin' to Boots by H-Town.
Okay, it's H-Town.
Then there's Knockin' Boots by Luke Bryan, which I've never heard of.
Okay.
Knockin' on, is there?
Knockin' on
and then Knockin' Boots by Candyman. There's two Knockin' Boots songs. Knockin' da Boots, your H-Town, and mine's Candyman, Knockin' Boots.
Great. I mean, I know them both, but I didn't know it's called Knockin' Boots. But anyway, so he knew that. Colloquialism. And then he takes out his special underwear. Yeah. There wasn't nothing special about it. And so, yeah, he's like feeling upset that even though he knows she's a virgin and he completely respects that, he still doesn't think it's fair that he came all this way and he's not able to touch her. And I said, that sounds a little possessive and a little not fair is a weird way to say it. Like what you would say is, I'm kind of bummed that we're not going to be making out, but are not going to be touching, our first night together. We're sleeping like cousins, in fact. But I respect her because she wants to keep her virginity.
I mean, listen, they're so messed up and effed up. I mean, it must be weird that they have spent 2 years on the phone together and just like are constantly like, baby, I want to like, bone you. And I can't wait to have you and da da da. And then just suddenly like when push comes to shove, you are like in some sort of reverse 69 position, cuddled into a fetal position and then going to bed. Like, but at the same time, I will say that that bed scene that happened at the end where he was like, basically trying to ask Mary if they in fact would fuck, even though he said they wouldn't, was awkward because in my mind I'm like, she's not gonna say that on national television. I feel like Mary the entire time's like, no, okay, we're gonna go to bed like the way we're going to bed. Yeah, leave, cameramen, turn off the lights. And the minute that happens, I think Mary's gonna. No, but having said that, she doesn't have to. I'm just saying it's what I think it's gonna happen.
Okay, yeah, no, she definitely doesn't have to. So I don't have anything else to say about them.
Let's move on.
Okay, who do you want to go to?
I want to get over Kenny and Armando.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I fast forwarded through every single one of their scenes. So only thing I recall seeing is the mother crying and Kenny sitting next to her because Armando's throwing him under the bus.
Yeah, it's like basically they hide money in the car, like he hides money while they're in Mexico City. They're making it seem like Mexico City is obviously very dangerous. He hides money. This is where he decides to hide money though, so it's interesting. The little like when you're the driver's past that driver's side, and then you have like your your carpet that sits underneath the brakes. Mm-hmm. That's where he decides to. That's where.
Who would look underneath the rug though? That might be smart.
I guess just, you know what? A billion other places was like, not like, why? So someone's going to someone going to pull you out of the car, strip you naked, and then go into your glove compartment, go in there and then be like, well, there's no money. Here's the car back. Here's you. Fine, bye. And then you just like, got them. Like, I don't know. Anyway. Okay. So I really don't want to talk about them. I don't care. Kenny gets a haircut. And so that's noteworthy because at some point it looks like we jump back in time and it's not as freshly cut. And so those are just like sleuthy things for the listeners. So here is what is interesting. Kenny obviously doesn't know a lick of Spanish. Armando's mom comes in. She doesn't like Mexico City. They set up the fact that she also thinks it's dangerous. One time she almost got pickpocketed or her purse almost got stolen. She's very upset. So she gets upset when now Armando has to then tell his mom that they're thinking about moving there. And Armando throws Kenny under the bus. It's like, where Kenny wants to do it. Kenny just wants to do it. Kenny wants to do it. Never even says like, well, Hannah's also somewhat interested. Be great for her. Then Armando's mom is like, oh, like you've done so much to me. You just keep moving. And what am I supposed to do? And then Armando goes in. He's just like, I mean, he's nice about it. He's like, you have no place to be a victim because literally like my wife fucking died. And then I had a baby and then I was gay and came out. I am gay. I mean, I am gay and then came out and no one would fucking touch me. So I don't want to have to sit here and have you tell me how I've done things and how I have to worry about how you're going to feel about it when no one give a shit about how I was feeling in the worst possible times. So anyway, and then Kenny, who has not learned any Spanish, just kind of sits there. Now, who also hears every part of that? Hannah. And that part also felt a little weird.
Wow.
God, Armando loves to have the most intense conversations with his mom and parents on TV. It's like no other way exists. Okay, that's honestly what happened.
Great. Let's move on to these two because Julio showed his entire buttocks. I mean, the nalgas were out. They were up rear, the nalgas. He just did the most. He did the most. I felt like him backpedaling on national television to just like throw her off was not the look. Not the look. So the first thing they have is we now know she's not a Yara. She's not in heels. She's wearing flat high boots, knee high black leather boots, and she is wearing this outfit that is blue because I think blue is her color because her eyes are blue. And they're driving over to his family's house, but before they get there, he has to point out to her how there was like a shooting across the street, and someone shot a gun into his mother's home. And I sometimes think that that is so weird that people would just like divulge like gang or street life stuff to people who don't need to have that information. I was just embarrassed as like a black person that he was like, yeah, there was like a shootout across the street. Look at this hole. My mom was in the kitchen. And she's like, I don't want to live here. Which I'm like, absolutely. So they get to the cousin's house, and this is where he first starts to like be annoying. And the family's like, if he's over there for 2 months, then how come you don't come live here for 2 months? And she's like, I don't want to live here. And he's like, well, that sounds like a good idea. And if like I can only imagine sitting next to somebody who you've had conversation after conversation where they've insisted and told you that this whole thing was happening and this is how it's going to be happening, and then you get to their home or around their family, and they start to backpedal, and then their family is like telling you what you should be doing, and they are not stepping in to protect you. That is where I'm like, oh, Julio, I can't be on your side.
I don't understand. So, yeah, why doesn't he want to live with her? Why does he? I mean, it's okay. I understand if he was like, I would kind of like to live in America. I kind of wish you would move here, which that's one argument, which he's kind of also hinted at that. But literally, we are in a whole different argument now, which is I'm moving there. And when I move there, we're supposed to live together, but we also could live separately. And that's where it's weird to her. Like, you're going to move all the way to this place that you don't know, and we've already lived together. You're not going to live with me? Like, what do you think? You're going to like, just what? Like, you just want to bounce around and be like some bachelor there, like single bachelor? Like, she must think that yeah, I mean, I don't know. First of all, I love Kirsten. She makes me like her a lot. I feel like her emotional maturity and like her grace and elegance in this is like a testimony. I feel bad because he makes her feel like you should be louder, my family. And, of course it's like, we know what it's like to come from cultures that are loud or whatever. But it's like, she is her, and she's not mean. She's not impolite. She's just a little more reserved. I mean, people are reserved sometimes. People are introverted sometimes. You can't expect someone to be different. I don't know. You know what I mean, Wa?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that him saying you need to like step into my family's expectation is wrong. Like, she will get there, she'll be quiet, and she'll do her thing, and either she'll open up or she won't, and your family will just get used to her however she is. And so she's offended that she needs to kind of change like who she is to be around his family, which I get, but his family doesn't expect that. And that's the part that's I think hard for her and hard for anybody, is that he's like anticipating what they're going to feel, but what they really feel is like, why the hell haven't you told us this entire time? And she's able to be like, yeah, he's known, we've talked about this for a year, I've been his girlfriend for a year. And they're all looking at him slack-jawed, and instead of him just like taking that heat, he allows her to share in it somehow by acquiescing and agreeing that his family's compromise might be correct. But it's already too late for that. He should have gotten their opinions and gotten, whatever. But that's the whole reason why he didn't tell them anything. That's the reason why he didn't tell his mom, is because he knew that they would pull him out of that. He knew that he would feel guilty and then start backpedaling. So he left it to the last moment to tell them. And then in that last moment, he's still doing what he knew he was going to do, which is backpedal.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, I was on her side the entire time. And Vicente didn't know what he was getting himself into, at the costume party. And she was so excited. She's like, I'm putting my anger away. I never celebrate Halloween. We don't celebrate it like we do here. And they're both like devils. And he just gets there and he's just like basically siding with all his family and putting the onus on her to agree to things like in the moment, right? It's just like within 24 hours, she's supposed to agree to two separate ideas of what they were going to do. And I would be pissed too. I'm telling you right now, I hate it when plans change. Like, I fucking hate it. So I get it.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say about them.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
All right. You know what? I'm gonna add another commercial in right here. So
Okay.
let's take a moment. Let's take a moment for a commercial. And hey, we're back. I hope you enjoyed that commercial. We're doing our best. Okay, so next couple that we're going to talk about, I mean, let's Danielle and Johan. I thought this was actually a non-infuriating episode for me with them.
because there's two other lovely, charming people in it. They're friends.
Yeah. This made me not angry at them at all. And let me tell you, the biggest shock is Danielle's hair that is not the right color and looks like Barbie doll hair. Go.
Yeah, okay. So, 'tis the season, I guess. Everyone, it's, hi Barbie life. But she obviously has extensions, and babe, it's like, okay, this is how, I mean, this is how I describe it, I guess. It looks like, how in the 90s you would have Barbies that had like hair that would turn colors like in the sun or like with cold water or whatever, and you would do it over and over again, and then at some point, like, it just is this weird shaded of something. It's neither here nor there. It's just like stayed this. It's that her hair is blonde with the tinge of purple or pink, as if, or here's another metaphor, as if she took off the extension and washed it with one red sock and like in hot water, and the red sock just died. It's like, it looks so bad and so not blended for a billion reasons, and like a weird mop. It's just, fine. It's just like, I mean, it's okay. This is what it is. Extensions are hard, I guess. And over the years in the 90-day world, we have seen top to bottom what extensions can do if they hate you. Like, that's kind of like Darcy. Like, Darcy's hairstylist hates her, and Darcy's hair hates her, and like, like anything that's like plastic and or previously unattached to a human's head that hits her head hates her immediately. Same thing with the Angela ponytails, like, they're not to be trusted. Like, Miona did it, and then she was like, how did I do it so well? I don't know how anyone else can do it like me, so I will make a business of it. And she's successful because that's how hard it is. And the secret, I think, is having darker hair. Anyway, having yes. Daniela's look is not the best. However, we pick up on a very different Danielle and Johan than where we had left off. And at one point they go over their timeline, and it also feels like it's only been that amount of time. Right? Mm-hmm. Anyway. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So we find out that they are going to counseling, and it's made their life so much easier. And that she has been using her independence as armor, which I thought was like a really poignant thing because that really tracks for her. And she then it goes to the airport to pick up her homegirls, and she's got her sunglasses on, and she's like doing that hip sway waddle all the way there. Then they're there. She loves their dresses. They get in the car with her. They're having a kiki good time. And really, they bring such a ray of sunlight to this situation, as well as a buffer between Danielle and Johan, as well as they speak Spanish. So they're talking to him, and he's able to fully express himself with two of her friends. And they're being so delicate and polite. And I love it. It's like the way you should do it, instead of going in like a hurricane and just like being like, why didn't you do this? Why are you still on the app? Just like, hey, it's hard, right? And, it feels like, I'm sure from his perspective, that the friends aren't there to judge him. They are, but they're doing what they need to do to make sure that it isn't terrible. Yeah, they love him.
Yeah, that is exactly it, Wah. We are not seeing friends of the American being like, they're not questioning him at all. They're not questioning his motives about like why you're here, we're with our friend. They are like, you should get a job. Like, mm-hmm. what's happening with that money situation? But yeah, like, they think that he's charming, and he is a large man who smiles, who's incredibly handsome, whose physical presence is just, can be just like, intoxicatingly, transformative, I guess, to be around. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, they love it. Yeah. And I love that he can feel their warmth, and like he feels like they're not on his side, if not even a little bit on his side, because they know that she's banana whamas, but she doesn't, but she does seem a little more grounded. You're right. Like, she seems like she's done some work. I mean, like, maybe that hair literally is heavy. It's like pushing her to the ground. It's literally grounding her for her, but like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, that hair is like, it's almost, it looks like it's gray or lavender. Like,
Yes.
it is so interesting to me. And I had a hard time staring whenever she would talk. I liked the fact that her friends were there and they had a vibe about them. And then there was like good food and good conversation. And like, I love a Dominican aguacate. So like, I was happy if they got to have that. But yeah.
Yeah, like, I will say Gizmo's cute, their dog,
Mhm.
and I was happy for that. And I want to know in my mind, like, do you think Gizmo likes to be around Johan more or Daniela more? I think Daniela wants Gizmo to be around her all the time, but I think Gizmo loves to be around Johan. Like, I think that I don't know if it's a guy or girl, but either way, it's obsessed with Johan, just like everyone else.
And I feel like only because Johan is not obsessed with it, he's like a dog. Dog should be outside. That's the way my dad feels too. So my dad is like, I don't get it. It's the way they all feel. They're like, dog as pets, especially this little one. What purpose does this dog, bring? We didn't have any Misha and Nicola this episode. Is this the second time or just this time? And we missed them so much because they're so poignant, gifted.
I think you're right. Yeah, like, wow, they better be giving us something crazy. Yeah, maybe because, but yeah, the babe, you're absolutely right. Okay.
Yeah. Last but not least.
Yep.
Certainly not least. Woo! This was another very explosive episode between TJ and Kim.
Will we pick up on the fact that that she did not like that apartment? What? Oh yeah.
No, she hated it. She absolutely hated that apartment. And the next morning, she's wearing like some kind of onesie, and I don't know what she's doing. But no, wait. Did we talk about? Did we talk about what happened the night before? No.
No, wait. Well, that happened last episode.
About him sitting down with his family talking shit about her? That happened last episode?
A little bit.
Well, then this is what I'm going to say. The fact that he's sitting downstairs talking shit about his family, with his family about her, about calling him a dick, and how he doesn't like the word dick. Don't call me dick. Like, it to me was just the rudest situation ever. He was dead ass wrong in that. She was wrong, but him to run downstairs just complaining and talking about how he has done all these things and she's just so ungrateful and she's just nitpicking at everything, and then having that conversation with his brother outside where his brother is fully on his side and is basically like, fuck that bitch. Like, that was wrong. That was wrong.
Yeah, like, if there was any chance from the first episode or them being together or whatever, like, if there was any chance you thought that they should be together, it's obvious they shouldn't for a bunch of reasons. Yes, his emotional maturity in relationship to how it should be if you want to be married to someone and you want them to have a relationship with your family, and the protection you have there, but he is so obviously hurt. And also, B, she is unhinged. I mean, she is crazy. I mean, I find her repulsive in this episode. I mean, to the point where I'm like, I think that, I don't know what to tell you. I think that there's a sort of like evilness about her, and I don't trust her. Please don't have her like come to my house. I'm scared of her. I feel like she would like, I don't like her. I think she like does like spells on people and stuff like that. And I think that she has a darkness to her. Like, the ways in which that she complains and laments about him out loud, like, even though obviously the producers are there and she's being recorded, without any sort of like, oh my God, my husband to be, and I just got this huge, like, I don't know, like, it's just every part of it is so bad to watch in the sense that if the final goal is for two people to be in a relationship, like his choice is horrible, her choice is really, really, really bad. Like, please walk away from each other.
Yeah. Definitely, because she's like, he text messaged me last night to go down there and sleep with him, I guess in the same bed as his brother and his mother. And I'm like, you don't have to be such a dick about it. You knew that he and his mother and his brother sleep in the same bed. Where his father sleeps, we don't know. But you've known that he has slept in the same bed with his mother his entire life. And you're gonna like call it out on TV because you're pissed at him. And she's like, all I did was tell him I didn't like things. And all I want him to know is that he has to hear me and that he's not hearing me because that's what a family does. And then she's like, my spirit guides told her something, girl, but not to get on the plane and go home. So he comes upstairs with an apple and a banana trying to make it work. And
that's also crazy. He really, I mean, I'm like, is this really the first time he's coming back in the room? Because he really was so sorry. Wow. I mean, I interrupted, but he really was just like, poke. Is it okay if I'm here? Like, like the ways in which he tried to get back in her good graces. I had to pause and then just like let it wash over me. It was so bananas, right?
Yeah, it's the cultural difference. Like he's expecting her to just have been mad for the night and then wake up in the morning, and now that he's positive, her try to be positive too. And just because they're going to get married in a week. And she's like, "No, I'm going to stew in this and I'm going to yell at you. And I'm going to yell at you at the top of my lungs so that your family hears you, so that you have to storm off and go back downstairs again." I don't think they're going to get married.
I hope not, but we'll see how much more. I have a fantasy for you. Here's my Brandan wet dream.
Oh, what?
Ready? Ready if you got Kimberly in her lion onesie, and you got Chris and Jamie and her whatever onesie, the onesie that that she wore, whatever the fuck onesie it was, a unicorn or whatever it was. These two women are incredibly narcissistic, and when they fight, they fight in such a way that like makes it about them, but then blame the other person for making it about them when it's not about, when they're, it's like very similar. So you'd have to have them have an argument off in an animal onesie and who could be more victim-y.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that Kim is really good at being the victim. Like I know that she's like her and her pirate father, they are the top of the list. And she is basing her expectations on him on what I guess the father and the stepmother did. And I wonder if they never fought before this time. They must have fought every day the last time she was there.
Great point.
Every day. This level of disrespect to each other is not like, didn't just happen. She's like, I cuss. Dick is not a bad word. The same way that he's like, please don't call me a bad name. She's like, well, you're just going to have to deal with it, or it's just going to happen sometimes. And he's like, well, then I need you to, respect the fact that I put my blood, sweat, and tears in this apartment in the last 2 months. And they're both like, no, we're not going to. My feelings are more important than your feelings. You need to listen to me. I don't need to listen to you. So,
yep,
that's weird.
Yeah, you have to accept that I use the word dick. And then he's like, okay, well, then you have to accept you cannot call me a dick. No. It's like, it's so, like you can use the word dick. You cannot call me a dick. You can use the word bitch. You cannot call me a bitch. You can, say the word hate. You can't say I hate me. Like there's certain, whatever. But anyway, she's horrible. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. She's horrible, but she's in training at this point, so hopefully it doesn't get worse. All right, you guys, so that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. If you would like to be a part of our Patreon, it's on DocuSweeties at patreon.com/DocuSweeties. It's $10 a month. We do a live every first Monday of the month, and this Monday is going to be a doozy. So please join us on Patreon. If you would like to be a part of our social medias as well, and or only, Chris will tell you how to do that.
I would go to Instagram and I would, go ahead and type in the @ symbol, that weird one. And then at DocuSweeties is Instagram, at DocuSweeties on TikTok, and at DocuSweeties1 on X. X now. It's called X.
Oh.
So yeah. I guess I have to, formerly known as Twitter. The artist formerly known as Twitter, X, just like Prince. Okay, well, we love you guys so much, and we will talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.